Afternoon all, I'm with my good friend Chris, known as Chess Explained. Hi Chris.
Yeah, hi, welcome to the second tiebreak game here.
Yes, and we've got clock times, and these could be useful. There was David Bronstein was into clock times to see positions which might have been tens and how much time someone spent. Time graphs. That was very useful, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it might be useful for some players. I actually never wrote down clock times, but it might be useful. So, but it also really much depends on the player, I guess. I'm not 100% sure if Bronstein was also a person who got into time trouble much. I'm not sure.
Mm.
For my part, I never wrote this down because usually I don't get into time pressure, so it never mattered much to me. But it's very interesting to look at the spend time in relation to the position and see that often the remaining time is more important than the actual position on the
Yeah.
board, or at least plays a huge role because you simply cannot do some things with very little time.
Well, ideally, I think in the most critical positions where there's an opportunity to gain a decisive advantage, you'd hope that the player allocates more time to the critical positions rather than routine positions.
Yeah, this is certainly true, but chess is a complex game. Sometimes, even in the critical position, sometimes you just have this strong hunch that this move must be the correct one, and then you just play it. But this is also useful to know.
Mm.
So it's basically maybe a good thing to do this.
Mm.
To do this protocol of your own time and the opponent's time. But I think if you're used to it, then it's okay. But, well, I never did it, so no experience with this. So okay, let's see how the game progressed.
Okay, so Anand kicked off with e4, and then we saw Sicilian defence from Gelfand and a repeat of the Sicilian Sveshnikov invitation, which is again rejected with the anti-Sveshnikov bishop b5. Well, it's a very popular move now, bishop b5, in its own right, rather than d4. So has Anand got something up his sleeve? So after e6, we saw bishop take c6 immediately, again to dent black's pawn structure with the double pawns.
Yeah.
Without knight ge7. So now b3 again.
Yeah, and this is a repeat of one of the match games in which Gelfand played e5.
Yes.
And I remember when we did this video that I said maybe this e5 move would put b3 out of business or something. But okay, here obviously the Anand team came up with some new idea, and I think we will see this idea soon in the game.
Yes. It's quite amazing. It is like a continuation of the match discussion. A theoretical debate has been continued here.
Yeah.
So knight takes e5, queen e7. And now the innovation, I think, was here. The innovative move coming up, d4.
Yeah, right. In the match game, I'm not quite sure of the number. He played knight to c4, which is also pretty logical, and also the kind of move you might want to play if you're not prepared for this. Knight c4 is just a safe move, but I think d4 is very hard to work out at the board if you look at the complications that come up now. But this looks funny.
Sorry. So I was just trying to
Okay.
show knight c4. Sorry, yeah. So instead of d4, there was knight c4 in that previous game. And then we saw an equalization, didn't we, after knight c4?
Yeah, it was pretty much nothing after a couple of moves. But now it gets quite sharp immediately. Black plays d6. I think this is more or less the only move which makes sense here. And then we, queen e4 and now queen e2.
So I'm just going to have to go back to get to this position so it registers. So d4, d6 was played, and now knight takes c6. Sorry, if c takes d4, Would that been any good if c takes d4 being played here?
Yeah, I think you can just take d4 with the queen.
With the queen?
Yeah. I'm not sure that there should be anything here. So black cannot play d6. You can just capture on c6.
Yeah.
And yeah, no move really. The queen on e7 is quite silly after all. If it doesn't win, win the pawn on e4.
And this is silly. This is not good, is it? Just maybe c3 here.
Yeah, you can also exchange bishop d2 and our pawn up. c3 also, yeah.
I just thought to establish these 2 pawns in the center, that would be quite good. Maybe.
Yeah, this is just extra material for white.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, but it looks pretty much forced what happens now.
Okay.
So d6, knight c6, queen e4.
Check.
So queen e2 pinning that, otherwise he's going to lose the knight. So
Check.
exchange of queens. Interesting though. The exchange of queens here. So who's doing better here, do you think?
Well, yeah, I think the only way to find this out is to invest like half an hour and do some analysis, because this is a purely tactical position now. It's very very opened up, and yeah, white is a pawn up. You always need to take this into account, and black needs to do something to get it back.
Yeah.
Well, it's very very concrete now. So bishop b7, yeah, I think.
Yeah.
And then interesting, but this is of course part of the preparation here, and also quite amazing because Gelfand was playing quickly up to this point, but he sank into deep thought pretty quickly now. So I was a bit surprised, because this should be part of the preparation, really, what happens now. Yeah, here white has an alternative. Anand plays knight a5,
Right.
which is the sharpest move, obviously,
Yeah.
because it leaves g2 hanging.
Yeah.
And seeing from the clock times, he blitzed all this out. White could have played d5 also.
d5, yes.
Yeah, it's also the move to look at. Well, this is not really playing for a big advantage, but it would be a very safe choice also. Black gets the pawn back pretty easily.
Wouldn't you get the d5? Are you going to take on c6? Because I'm thinking knight c3, knight d5 could be useful.
Yeah, I think just king d7, I think.
Alright, so basically that really forces whites to say this c4, say? Would you still take?
c4,
Check.
take 2 times.
Knight c3?
Yeah, and then I need to maybe rook e8 first.
Alright, because it seems actually bishop g5 might be useful there. So check.
Check.
Yeah, just gain this little bit of time here, and then knight f6, and it looks very equal, this
I'm
position.
wondering about this d5 square, bishop g5. Is that a problem, d5 here?
No, not with the king on c6. Black can play bishop e7 here, or just knight e4. Maybe knight e4 is the easiest.
Right.
It's a position you can never win with black, but it's also very difficult to lose it.
Yeah.
It's just not there are not enough pieces left to create anything. This kind of wholeness would be a problem on d5 if white would get a knight there against the bishop, but you don't manage this. So this would be a nice position for a game which white by all accounts doesn't want to lose. But well, this was not the point. They obviously did some very concrete preparation with knight a5.
Yeah.
And to be honest, a couple of moves later I was thinking, yeah, Vichy is winning this game out of his preparation, but it didn't happen. Okay, so now he took on g2.
Not worried about this g-file pressure.
Yeah, it's the only move. What can you do? Otherwise, you're just lost basically.
Yeah.
Rook g1, and now yeah, I think he started to invest time now. To h3, right?
Oh yeah, so 23 minutes here, 53 to. So how long did he spend on that move roughly? So he spent about 2 minutes on one move here.
Yeah, and this is a kind of
blimey.
thing. If you look at this, I'm not sure. I don't want to question every every move in terms of time spent here. But where else would you go?
Yeah, bishop e4. Yeah, that was something in the long games which Svidler was going on about, cutting down the amount of analysis if waiting for the opponent to play one out of the three rather than.
I mean, where
calculate.
else would you go? If you go to e4 or d5, you get hit with knight c3.
Put another pawn sack.
Yeah, I think it's just logical. Taking this also, and now white would take on c5 or bishop f4 or whatever. It's like white has developed everything and black nothing.
Oh, not bishop f4 cd though. Don't you want to?
Yeah, knight b5. I'm not calculating here using the computer. Just general principle. You have got everything out here. Knight d5 maybe also.
Oh, this is very, very dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got all pieces attacking you, and you cannot play this anyway. I think.
Let's imagine check. You got rook e1. You got knight c7. This would be brilliant. These knights. Yeah. This is just really dangerous. The other rook could be used to come to e file.
Yeah, so I think it adds up. If you use 2 minutes here, maybe you also could have come up with the decision of bishop h3 after 1 minute. I think this is one difference maybe between
announcement
between Rishi here and Gelfand. I think given this position, I think Anand would have made this move maybe in 1 minute and not in 2, and this adds up somehow. Okay, so bishop h3 and
okay, so now we see d takes c5, which makes way maybe for this bishop on this diagonal potentially.
Yeah,
it's changing the pawn structure quite significantly as well. But white doesn't want to look after the d4 pawn, maybe.
Yeah, this makes lots of sense to get everything active here. So you see that white is intending to play knights to d5 or b5.
Yes, I remember this looking really dangerous. In fact, John Spillman was one of the commentators on the ICC, looking, very optimistically, as though black needed to sacrifice a pawn to get some play soon.
Yeah. I thought white was just winning out of the opening, just and also considering that it was all prepared at home, so to say.
Yeah.
But okay, Gelfand I think did a brilliant defense in this game.
Yes,
really brilliant.
absolutely.
That he didn't go down to this was really remarkable.
Yeah.
Okay, so long castles, yeah. And now look at the time, 17 minutes. 17.
I just thought, yeah, he's one of those perfectionists. My good friend Alex is also a perfectionist, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying, he did brilliantly in the Hearts League, which is more with the Germans and much longer time limits. Than the Middlesex League, which I did better in, and I did worse in the Hearts League. So if you're a perfectionist, it fundamentally affects, sometimes how well you do on different time limits. And being a perfectionist in rapid, even with 10-second increment, isn't that much. So you can't really be a perfectionist in rapid. You end up blundering later.
Yeah, it was a difficult position to play, but I think he invested like 6 minutes or something on long castles, and
yeah,
it sort of adds up. But what you need to appreciate here that he somehow really managed to get a game here and with black, and this is difficult enough considering that it looks very dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay,
so pawn sack, counter pawn sack of g7 to get his bits out. Knight b5 was looking like a menace if he doesn't play bishop d6. It looks as though he's going to get destroyed after knight b5. What else does he play? If he takes time to try and protect this pawn before moving the bishop, then knight b5. There's no defense here, is there?
This is, I think black is just toast here.
And there's also rook g3, potentially rook c3 if needed to get tempo on this bishop.
You don't have a move here really to prevent knight a7, rook d1, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, say this as an example.
Check.
The king would be just being rolled over
Check.
here.
Yeah, this is...
this
Check.
could be juicy.
yeah. Very nice. Yeah, this is just not playable.
So
and maybe you have some alternatives. Maybe you can play knight f6 or something. But well, he invested another 7 minutes to win bishop d6.
Oh dear! I just thought, the writing was on the wall.
6 minutes.
10 minutes 59. Yeah, he's like he's playing basically a time odds game now. You know, it's like blitz time odds, isn't it? Against Anand.
Yeah, and the position is also still bad here. So it's really remarkable that he fought himself back into this game. So I think White took now and played Rook G5, which looks very strong.
Yeah, Rook G5 instead of Rook G7. So let's see Rook G7 or Rook G3. Rook G7. What would Black do?
Yeah. Maybe just knight development to knight to f6 or maybe even h6.
So offering another pawn. And I think this was mentioned by John Spillman actually. Knight h6 to f5 to d4 as a plan. Get into this square here.
Yeah, this also just keeps f7 protected for a moment, and you've got rook e8 coming up also. Yeah, this is maybe the better move.
And that protects f7, yeah, so we're going to get a tempo gain. So that's probably why rook takes g7 was rejected, in fact. If we look at in this position, there's no way White can get an advantage then here. If he doubles up rooks and plays rook g8, or... No, because also the king's in fire with rook e8, the White king.
Yeah, White's king is a source of counterplay here for Black. Yeah. And it's just the g7 pawn is pretty much not important in this position, but if you get c5, you've got 3-1 on the queen side, and lots of endgames are just winning 3-1, so getting c5 is just much more important than capturing a pawn on its initial square here.
In fact, just to show the massacre which White could be facing, as an example, check, and then this gets really, really nasty.
Yeah, rook f6 is checkmate.
That was quicker than I expected. Okay, so forget rook takes g7. In case anyone was wondering, rook g3 is pointless. Might as well go for the c5, and it's near the king anyway to get the king attack pursued. So rook g5, powerful move. So he's got nearly double the amount of time. Well, nearly double.
Yeah, he spent a couple of minutes here, so this was most likely out of preparation now, but it's also a great result here. And I was really surprised that White was not winning pretty much instantly here.
So knight f6 offering c5, which is taken. So White now is again a pawn up here, and he has a 3-1 pawn majority here, but the king is not that safe on e2. Okay, so the king goes to b8, and then we see knight c4.
Yeah, the knight maybe wasn't doing so much anymore on a5, so he wants it back, I think, most likely to e3 to help his king in defending. So this is also very logical move.
Yeah, so he's attacking the rook at the moment as well. So he's played a check is played. So knight e3. Now knight g4, putting a lot of pressure all of a sudden. Well, a little bit on f2 and e3. Maybe even rook f6 to attack f2 later, or just doubling to attack e3.
Yeah, it's also it looks a bit crazy, but also h2 is hanging.
Yes, h2 for bishop g4 might be useful.
Bishop it's not G4 just a pawn, it's just helping to set up more play on the king, so White needs to react to this in a way. And it's not so easy, actually. I actually forgot what he played. 95?
95, yeah. So, okay, knight d5. He's supporting e3 a bit more with this move. Maybe he wants to play also c4 at some point, or just rook. No, the rook is tied down to d5 at the moment because of this nasty pin on e3.
Yeah. Yeah, in general, what you need to consider about this position, somehow you would expect White to be better, yeah, because he was in preparation, he blitzed out all his moves, he's got an extra pawn and so on.
Yeah.
But it's not easy at all to to convert this, because right now all black's pieces are active.
Yeah, they're very logical placed, these rooks.
Yeah, the rooks are on the central files, pressurizing white's king. The knight on g4 is doing some work on e3, on h2, and this bishop on h3. Okay, this we'll see later, can be deployed nicely. And if you look at it, just sometimes I try to assess positions if I just with extra material, right? I just imagine the extra material would not be there. How would I assess this position? So if I would just well, okay, it's not so easy to take a pawn away, but let's say white wouldn't have the c2 pawn, yeah?
Yeah.
Just imagine this, then black would be instantly very much better.
Black would be better. I thought white would be better because he could double up rooks on the c5 if the c2 was not there. You could play rook c1 and rook b5.
Yeah, yeah, okay, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, this is the problem. You cannot really take a pawn away here without any concrete yeah, play. I wanted to take away the a pawn, but this would make a7 very weak. But okay, there's not.
It seems to me this rook's a problem. It's stranded in the opponent's territory and a bit silly there on c5 in a way. Needs to
not
regroup.
sure. This is the only active piece white's got, really. He's doing some work also, protecting d5 and enabling checks on b5 and so on. What I'm saying is, at the moment, the extra pawn is the a pawn or the c pawn, and this pawn is not doing anything at the moment. It's not an active unit in the battle, so to say. So if white can sort of, yeah, calm down this position and get into some sort of real end game, where black doesn't have any concrete play, then okay, then it might be even a winning advantage. But at the moment, it's just an open tactical fight for concrete things like white's king position and so on. So it's not like, okay, I've got an extra pawn, I'm winning easily. It's not like that at all.
But also, if you look, both white's knights are under immense pressure, because also bishop g2 might be on the cards to hit d5.
Yeah, it's not at all easy. No.
Yeah, and e3 is under pressure. So yeah, this is very, very tricky. Unpleasant, I would say. So what does Vichy do here? Sorry, after knight takes e3, that simplifies a bit. Maybe that helps white a little bit. It would seem to take some of the pressure away. This knight takes e3.
Yeah, but it's got a very nice idea. I was very impressed with this, actually. And now he went. Yeah, he gave this check.
Oh yes, everyone was saying this was really high class what he did here, this check, followed by what the next move. Beautiful. I wonder if our YouTube viewers can guess what happened here after f3. Guess the move. We'll let you guys on YouTube guess the move here if we give you 10 seconds. What does black play here? So he's basically he's increased the danger of this pin, hasn't he, against the knight. It's not supported by the pawn anymore.
Yeah, this is very important.
And he plays now, brilliant move. He plays bishop c8, which opens up a new avenue of attack on this diagonal.
Yeah, and also b7. Yeah. Well, c4 is a move that white can always play to stop this bishop from being active there. But on b7 you would also attack f3. So f3 is a point of attack also.
Yes. Yes.
And one idea of this whole procedure was also to allow a rook to h6, yeah, to attack h2.
Immense. All these possibilities. These rooks are really working well with this bishop here. This knight seems a real liability in many variations on e3. And these pawns, you know, are isolated, aren't they? Black's got the more compact structure. These pawns are targets. So it is still very dangerous. Yeah, I thought Anand's close to, you know, getting wiped out here in a way. All of a sudden.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I just turned on an engine briefly, and it gives this position as completely equal.
Yeah, it would. They don't
Funny
fear.
enough, it gave white some advantage before, but somehow there must have been some inaccurate move by white. But it's not obvious what he should have done, but what he did wrong.
But engines will find the 1 in 20 moves which will keep the position equal. But humans in time pressure. It's going to be, well, Anand hasn't got the time pressure though. He's got about 14 minutes here, 55 according to this.
Yeah, but also the 5 minutes for black are also still rather okay.
Yeah.
But okay, let's see what how it continues.
So rook e1.
So, yeah, rook e1 and now rook a6, I guess, to attack h2.
Yes. Now, if we look at, hang on, the alternative bishop a6 here.
Check.
Is that's not dangerous here? I suppose c4 would be sufficient, would it?
Yeah, but you could also c4 might be okay.
Now you can answer rook e6 with king f2 now. That was the point of rook e1.
Yeah, but you can also consider moving the king immediately. But it's not clear that the bishop is doing so much on a6. The point of this bishop c8 was more to go to b7, I think.
Right.
You can play king f2, actually. You could think of it. Rook d2 check, king g3. It's not clear that you've got anything concrete going.
I see, because the knight's protecting. You've got enough protection, and the king's actually protecting.
It looks a bit shaky, but I'm not sure that this is a problem for white. You see, the c4 move also opens up the second rank completely for the rook, and it's. I think c4 is a more human move, certainly, to play. But I think rook h6 is just so natural. You really ask yourself, what is white playing now? Really, rook h1?
Yeah, that's a good point. This poor isolated pawn over here being victimized, and the king's far away from it, can't get to it.
Yeah, and the danger here is, if white would lose this pawn, he would be instantly close to lost, I guess.
Yeah.
Because black will keep all his activity, and he's got the bishop coming to b7, which is just stronger than the knight.
Yeah.
And the h-pawn is running and so on. And white is somewhat slow with his pawns, so he really doesn't have much choice here. He needs to keep his bits together here.
But 4 minute 28 here, 4 minute 28. So rook h1, and then rook e6.
Yeah, okay, rook e6, but what Gelfand could have played also, just rook d6 back.
Rook d6, yeah.
Yeah, with the idea of playing rook to d8 to d2 for once. And what is white playing now?
Well, now there is the threat of bishop a6, isn't there?
Yeah.
Because that threat is now renewed here. If the rook's not on e1, then this is a big problem, this e3 knight. Just to demonstrate that, just with a token move.
Yeah, to play something like a4 or something. Yeah,
check.
and then bishop.
And then the knight's lost here. Without the rook on e1, you can't play king f2. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, this is just over. So I think white maybe needs to play rook e1.
Yeah, you're right. So what?
So it was a very tough decision here, but Gelfand is actually playing for a win here. No, he could have played rook d6. I think he was perfectly aware that this would draw.
Yeah, and he was in. I don't know, if I had 4 minutes 38 against 11, wouldn't you be happy with a draw and try and play winners away?
It depends. Yeah, but okay, this is this position is just nice. Yeah. It's not like he's lacking in fighting spirit. So he wanted to try here. Also, you need to see, okay, you like the position, you fought yourself out of this bad position in the opening, and I think Anand wasn't feeling too happy here. I was pretty sure about this. And just imagine you play on and win this as black. This would be huge in terms of the match, because then Gelfand, let's just imagine he would have been up 1.5 or half after 2 games. You're pretty much sure to at least reach the blitz games, because you wouldn't lose 2 games most likely.
So rook e1 virtually forced here, in your opinion? Rook e1 is virtually forced.
What else can you play?
This knight's just a liability, because if you try and wriggle out, then there's rook d2, isn't there?
Check.
Yeah, you can play king e1 here, attacking the rook, and then you just maybe drop back, rook d6 and king f2, and it's also a draw.
Yeah.
This is another possible draw.
So yeah, rook d6. Okay, so he's playing for a win with rook e6. If we revert back to the game continuation, rook e6, and now this gives the chance for rook c3. f5, and it looks very dangerous. f5.
It is an attractive possibility. Yeah. I think it's understandable that he wanted to try. It's a bit risky with the time, but As he said in the press conference, this is his usual time management in rapid games. So,
Yeah.
well, he came to this point with this time management.
Oh, yes.
So you
He beat Grischuk, one of the top Russian players in the world, didn't he? In the qualifier. No, that was in the long game.
This
before
was
the
long
tiebreak.
games, yeah.
Sorry, the very last long game, wasn't it? Before a rapid.
Yeah, exactly. They played a couple of draws, and Gelfand won the last game.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. If you play with this time management all your life, you should continue doing so in this crucial match.
So King,
and you not play Anand all day, who's always so quick in the rapid games.
So King D2. If F4, that would be asking for trouble on this diagonal, wouldn't it? Bishop B7.
Yeah, it's also maybe but what do you play on Rook E4 also?
Rook E4.
Let's say Rook F1, yeah, to protect F4.
Oh, Bishop A6.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
oh.
this is very painful.
Beautiful coordination of the rooks. Oh man. Oh, this is just painful, isn't it?
Yeah. So it really had a point to play on. It's especially if you consider it's not a point of maybe if the computer would tell you that white is a pawn up and can somehow consolidate this, but it's just very uncomfortable to play for white.
Yeah.
You know, you need to make those somewhat ugly defensive moves. So
let's try King F2. I guess this gets destroyed with just F4 here, with the rook infiltration to E2. That would be crushing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's checkmate also.
Bishop H3 is mating. Yes, that wouldn't be that wouldn't be too good.
Yeah.
Checkmate.
Okay, so not too many choices in this position after F5.
Yeah, I think maybe King D2 is the only move.
Only move. As Informator would say, a box symbol. Wasn't it? So King D2 and now F4. So this infiltration is invited to E2, potentially. So Knight D5. But G5, protecting the pawn. Not rushing for any rook move or anything, just G5. But this pawn chain reminds me of the King's Gambit. If it can be undermined, F4 will be weak. And so if white's got the undermining move H4, that's potentially dangerous to try and shatter this pawn chain.
Yeah, sure. But if you in the process lose F3, you lost at white, yeah. So it's sharp. He just wanted to. He did go for it here with black, with little time on the clock. So very brave play. And black is. I'm not sure. I didn't analyze it here hours long, but I can't imagine that black should be worse here. Just a question if white can hold or whatever. I think he must have misplayed it somehow in the coming moves. But okay, but let's see what happens.
So Rook D3 was played.
Yeah, this Rook on C3 was really a bit funny here. I think you also want to have C4 possibility to secure this knight here if it gets attacked with Bishop B7. Black is very active though.
So check. King C1, Rook F2. So he is potentially targeting, that as well, like this potentially, or just maybe even G4 or something. No.
Rook A2, both rooks on the second rank.
Of course, get both rooks on the second rank, and C2 and H2 will be under fire.
Yeah, so, it's very dangerous.
So what was played here? H4.
Yeah, he wants to activate his rook here on the H4, undermine the pawn chain.
Yeah.
And now it's a matter, I think, of precise calculation, which is, of course, difficult here with
3 minute 37
with little time.
Yeah.
I don't remember what he played actually.
Rook E2. So he accepts that invitation to attack C2, but there's no H2 target after H4, and this pawn chain's about to be undermined. So Rook C3 protecting C2, but also cutting the king off a bit, which might be tactically useful later. Rook C3.
I want to point out a move before. If you take the rook move back here, yeah. Black could also play here bishop b7.
Yes.
And it's a bit different. Bishop b7. Let's say h takes g5. And then rook to e2, yeah? I could make the move myself. I keep forgetting that I could enter them myself, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Let me control it if you want, I don't mind. So rook e2...
yeah, now how do you protect c2? This is the difference to the game, yeah? In the game, you had the rook on c3, and there white could actually... White could protect c2 with his rook, but he cannot play rook c3 now because the knight is lost. So how do you protect it?
I don't. What about if I just play rook takes h7? Because I've got rook h8 to look forward to here now.
Yeah, then rook c2.
Check.
King d1.
Yeah, and rook a2.
Isn't this dangerous for the black king though?
Yeah, it's dangerous for both kings. Most likely it would be a draw. I'm not sure, I didn't calculate so much here, but black is threatening mate also, so...
Yeah.
It might be a draw. Rook h8, bishop c8.
Check.
And then king moves somewhere.
Then a king move, king e1. Yeah, maybe king e1. Yeah, and this is the draw most likely.
Yeah, if white gets an extra move in, then rook c3 might be dangerous, or knight e7.
Yeah, this is most likely a draw.
Yeah.
I mean, rook a2, e2 check, king d1, rook a2 is a draw. Yeah. I mean, this kind of... Oops! I didn't want to draw an arrow. I wanted to move the piece.
Check.
So this kind of stuff is a draw immediately. So it's very difficult. Very difficult.
Yeah.
So maybe this was better, but because it's maybe the exact move order. But okay, 3:30 on the clock. Very difficult.
Yeah.
But it's a draw. Yeah. It's not like black could win here. Okay, so he played rook e2 immediately, which is also a very natural move.
So rook c3 protecting, and now bishop b7. So f3's on the line here, if the knight moves, and then black's pawns could be looking more dangerous. So rook d1, just holding the fort. G takes h4, but he's smashed his own pawn chain. But that pawn is also potentially dangerous. But these pawns are weak now, potentially. He's isolated 3 pawns there.
Yeah, it gets... we've got lots of exchanges coming up now.
So knight takes f4. The rook moves. It was attacked there.
Yeah, I think it's clear now that the worst is over for white. So somehow black's activity... didn't really wasn't really enough to give mate here, or give some immediate rewards. What black can hope for is to exchange, let's say, h4 against f3, and then getting counterplay with the h pawn coming down the board, and you've got the bishop, which is helpful with those 3 pawns.
Yeah.
But something went wrong a bit. Maybe this bishop b7 move would have been better to secure this draw, but it's difficult, of course. Now also you would need to look at the clocks here. Gelfand down on 55 seconds.
It's ridiculous. I just think that's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, he's such a perfectionist, though, to his credit, and it worked for him to get to this point. But I don't know about this. 55. I know it's 10-second increment.
It was a difficult position, and it looks slow because Anand is so quick. Let's say I think it's also quite ridiculous that he's got 8 minutes left.
Yeah.
If you look at maybe ridiculous is an unfair word, but look, it was a super complicated position.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure lots of players would be down to, let's say, 2 or 3 minutes is why. They might have some time extra compared to the 55 seconds black has, but he's played this so quickly, and it was very difficult for white to play. So I think he did very well in keeping all this together after it somehow went wrong after the opening. I think we agree that in the opening white was very good and maybe close to winning somehow.
Yeah.
But then the game somewhat shifted in black's Black's favor, and he did a good job and keeping all this together here.
He really maximised his rooks and bishop earlier on for a bit. They looked really dangerous, and the knight on e3 was looking fragile. The knight's not looking that fragile now.
No, white has really consolidated now, and of course this trade now leads to the mentioned endgame.
Yeah. So, okay, so now Anand is actually 2 pawns up in this moment, but with f3 and c2, one of those about to be picked off. Okay, so in this position, with c2 and f3 under fire, Anand chooses just rook h5. Interesting move, rook h5.
Yeah, this was an interesting tactical move. And I think he took on c2 now, right?
So bishop takes c2.
Check.
Check. And now, of course, the king moves, then rook c5 winning a piece.
Yeah, so he needs to get to a8.
And there looks to be a nasty knight d5 c7, but I think a6 or something like that. So knight d5 threatens knight c7 mate. So
yeah, it's always nice to...
Okay, so a6 gives the king a7. But now rook a5, which not only attacks but potentially defends a2. Okay, and the bishop's tied down to the rook. The king's actually attacking the bishop, so...
Yeah, white wants to get connected pass pawns here. This was, I think, the whole point of this procedure, getting the a6 pawn.
It looks as though, yeah, so knight b4 will be potentially forking these two. And he played that, so knight b4, bishop moves. So he's going to get, he's got the 2 connected pass pawns, as you say. Rook takes f3, but black's got potentially a runner, potentially.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I think this position is still very drawish.
Mm.
Because the h pawn is just quick.
Yeah.
And you've got this funny rule in chess that 1 pass pawn is always quicker than 2.
Who said that?
I'm not sure, but it's a rule.
It's a rule.
I know.
I thought you don't believe. You're telling me off about rules on the Chess Cube Cafe all the time, and then you're saying this funny rule I've never heard of.
Really? Yeah, but it's true. 1 pawn is
what do you mean it's true? Do you mean it depends on the position? Surely.
No. Just mathematically, 1 pawn is quicker. No, really. It's just, it takes 5 moves to promote the h pawn, but promoting a and b takes lots of more moves.
That's only because in this position,
a4, b4, b5, a5. There's like 10 moves.
Well, it's because these pieces are in the way and the king's in the way. And okay, there's nothing in the way here. Look, there's a free run on the motorway here. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got congestion charges on this side of the board. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, black has got the bishop. Yeah. To support his pawn, the bishop also controls h1. So this is a potentially very dangerous h pawn.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to see how white would get his pawns going quickly now. So yeah, he just fought on really admirably, but he's down to 18 seconds. Yeah.
C4. Yeah, I remember a British Championship game. Adams had this race of pass pawns, and miraculously, he's always winning those races. He makes sure his pass pawns look quicker. That's a very good skill. So if the opponent's got pass pawns, you got.
It's very helpful. Yeah?
So rook f4. A3, but at the moment they are plodding along, it seems. Not even going with a full A4 move, just having to defend B4. So rook G4, and now the king moves. Yeah, now H5. So is it really that dangerous?
Yeah. Now we see that the ICC times are a bit weird here.
Oh yeah, this is
minus,
not real.
But by this point he was down to basically nothing and was playing on increment only.
Yeah.
And somehow he also didn't manage to make, let's say, 3 or 4 moves quickly in a row to get a little bit of backup time for later. So,
Yeah.
but okay, the problem is the bishop is it's a nice piece here, but the lower the time, the more dangerous the knight gets. The old blitz,
Yeah.
the old blitz phenomenon.
Don't tell me blitz rule. No, you're not going to say that's a rule. No, but the knights are tricky. I know in blitz.
Yeah, it's yeah, but this is just the problem we all know from quick time control games, that those forks are are dangerous.
Yeah.
Check.
So check, and there is a fork.
Check.
Okay. Bishop e8. The bishop's getting out of the way for a moment. The knight is being tricky, and now, okay, can the pawn progress here? It plays h4, so only 3 steps away.
Yeah, see, it is quicker. White hasn't moved his pawns.
So rook e5. Okay, the rook's going to heroically win the bishop and go back. There's no time to rush that pawn. The bishop has to move. Okay, now there's a threat also potentially of rook g3 as well. So knight f4 though.
Check.
Check. And the king's actually making progress. The king is getting quite good here now. Maybe
Yeah.
on d4.
And now you see the combined forces here of the rook and bishop.
Yeah.
Really gave White no choice than to give up the a pawn. If he would have, let's say, play rook a5 to protect his pawn on a3, then yeah,
That's
just h3.
h3. What about just rook? Is rook g? Or is h3 stronger? Just h3 is stronger, isn't it?
I'm not sure. Maybe you have rook h5. But maybe you can play rook f3, yeah? Rook f3 first, instead of h4.
Instead of h3, so...
I keep pressing this this wrong button here. Oops. Yeah, maybe this one here.
Oh, rook f3, yeah, and then
Yeah,
h3.
well, what does White do now? If he plays something like this here, then the rook cannot go to
There's
h5
no rook
anymore.
h5, yeah, that's right, there's no rook h5.
And most likely the h-pawn, White is glad to sack his knight here.
Yeah.
So I think maybe White didn't have much choice here. He needed to give the a-pawn for the h-pawn.
Yeah.
And this basically, from a position point of view, this concedes the draw.
Yeah.
But okay, the time. And now he was back on 40 seconds here.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing.
And then he okay, but the knights are super tricky. This is just the problem here.
Yeah. But I think Anand said later on he liked his knight and rook on the 7th causing potential, problems.
Of course, it's not super easy. Okay, if you play a long time game and would have like 20 minutes here, I think he would have easily drawn this. But with this time, it's just very tricky.
So knight d5. So rook g5, b5. So it's looking like a torture position a little bit. But bishop f5. Okay, and I think one of the commentators indicated soon that a bishop on b7 would be easily drawing, blockading the pawn, if that could be arranged.
Maybe.
But something horrible was
Check.
fallen into soon. Let's just... Okay, so bishop f3.
Check.
Taking the knight. Knight's going to have to move.
And one thing about the ICC times here, this I really need to say, because the times are roughly okay during the game, but at this point he was down to 0.
Right.
Black was really down to 0, and just playing each move, he spent like 8 seconds for each move and was moving with 2 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
So, and this is the problem. If he really would have had 50 seconds, I think he maybe would have drawn this.
Right.
But for instance, just to take this back, just for a second, bishop e2.
No, sorry?
Bishop e2.
You can't play bishop e2, can you?
Why can't I?
Oh, because rook and knight. Oh, is that drawn? Yeah, that's going to be drawn. Yeah.
I think he would be glad to get this. I mean, he would have. It would continue, but you don't have to. It's easier to hold, I think, than the position before. I think this is one thing, but okay, it's not knight e2 the problem, but white could go b6 also,
Yeah.
and then it continues. Let's say
Check.
rook check here.
Oh, there's king e3
King.
there. Isn't king e3 dangerous there?
Yeah, the idea is
Just to win that pawn, yeah. Okay, you're just trying to win that pawn, yeah, to get the rook and knight versus rook. Very
Yeah.
clever.
I want to get this here.
Yeah.
So these kind of tricks, but you've got 8 seconds on the clock and this pressure, it's difficult. Okay, I think what he played didn't lose or something, but
Let's revert back to the game then. Okay, we'll go
Yeah,
back to the game
okay.
position. So bishop b7, and it looks as though, you know, okay, how's white going to make progress? So is he going to reverberate the bishop? Bishop d5. The knight's coming to c5 though, a dark square away from the bishop. And it looks, you know, that's naughty, isn't it? That knight on c5.
yeah, once he got this position, I was pretty sure that black would lose this, because it's just so annoying to play with the seconds on the clock. You've got all those, you've got the knight forks, you've got potential mate ideas.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I didn't analyze this. If it's still a draw, I'm not sure. Not sure really.
So king c7, rook g6, and that rook g6 contains a nasty thing about it. These guys are about to be forked after king d8. I think we get the mighty fork now. Is it this position? Oh no, not. I was just wondering about check and knight g5, but check and knight g5. Or is it another fork? No, there's also check and knight d4.
Check.
Now knight d4.
Yeah, this is what happened.
And it's the position of the king in relation to the pawn which makes this rook and pawn ending winning, isn't it? That
Yeah, this is winning now, and he immediately resigned. Knight takes f3, and king b6, and this is over.
it's over here. He resigned here. Sorry, there was this move, and now we did see
Check.
and rook b8 was the signal of the end. So can you explain? So rook b8, why is that such a powerful move? It's because the king can now move to a7, isn't it, and then b6. Is it because it's supporting b5 here, isn't it, from b8? What is rook b8 the most accurate winning move? It's technique, isn't it, for grandmasters? But
I'm not sure if maybe other moves are winning also. This looks very clean though,
but the idea is to protect the pawn so that king a7 and b6, isn't it?
yeah, in general you're right, but I'm not sure maybe other moves are winning also.
All right, let's give an example though. So here black resigns, but let's say king d6, king a7.
No rook d8.
You kick the king back here. Sorry, and that'd be trivial. That would be trivial.
Yeah, you can just drop the rook back now, exactly, and then you can just advance the pawn. You've got those. I'm not sure. In Germany, it is building a bridge.
Yeah, building a bridge. Because then
yeah.
any check you'd answer with. So if we just followed this through, just for people just to know, we get this critical position where you can come back, can't you now? Because you built your bridge here.
Check.
And there's no time for the black king.
Yeah, this is this a draw?
Oh god, have I misplayed it?
Yeah, you need to move b7 first. Yeah.
Sorry.
So now you can just go rook. It's white move, right? You can just play king here and then b7 and then the whole procedure. You need to go to b7
b7
first.
first, okay. And
now it's over.
And now, oh sorry, that's quite critical. Good revision here. So now the king pops out eventually to get to this bridge point here. And now the king cannot do Superman to stop the pawn. Sorry about that. It's good to brush up on these things.
It happens quickly, but just to show in this concrete position here, you played this here. You can also play this here. This is also winning. And then king a7 and b8 wins also. So this is the main thing is that the king is cut off here.
Yeah, the king can't rescue the situation here. King e7, king a7.
This is the problem.
Yeah.
Oops.
And there's nothing.
Somehow I'm doing this wrong.
Sorry, no, I moved that. Sorry. All right.
I cannot move an arrow, draw an arrow, because okay.
Oh,
I did something wrong here. The main point here is that the rook is cutting off the king here,
yeah,
and Black's king is not able to assist here,
yeah.
and yeah, a very unlucky finish of this game. But okay, it's not a matter of luck; it's a matter of yeah, spending your time.
But I think the commentators were saying about this bishop b7. If that knight fork hadn't occurred, let's just quickly rewind just a little bit here. So he allows that critical knight fork,
Check.
Which is unfortunate. Now I think if he had just done bishop, put the bishop out of the way. Is it black to move here? Black moved rook f5. So okay, if he's got loads of time, keeps the bishop out of the way of any knight fork. Tricky.
I think I don't know. The position looks already very tricky. Of course, this is better, yeah.
But you'd end up with your rook knight versus rook situation if the bishop could even sacrifice itself.
Yeah, most likely you would end up with this.
And that's you say that's a theoretical draw, isn't it? Rook and knight versus rook, but in practice there's winning chances.
Yeah, but they're very slight. I mean, Kasparov once won it famously against Polgar, but and it is won once in a while if you're very low on time. I think Anand would have played on most likely. But yeah, well, playing on rook and knight where this rook is, it's not unfair to play this on time, but I think it's very manageable to defend it as black if you got a little bit of time on the clock.
So in the worst case scenario, he could have just made sure his bishop wasn't going to be forked and just try and sack for the pawn in the worst case scenario.
Yeah, I think what Anand would have done is to avoid this scenario and just trying to sort of circle around with his pieces and always keep those fork ideas intact. I think it could have gone on forever,
Okay.
or at least for a couple of more moves. But okay, what can you do? A huge fight in this game.
Let's do a quick overview and summary, shall we?
Yeah, okay.
So Sicilian Sveshnikov with a novelty uncorked, probably from the main match. So d4, which I think people were saying this would be very unpleasant for Gelfand to cope with.
Check.
So, but he coped admirably, creating huge counterplay with a counter pawn sacrifice here idea. Bishop d6, g7 is pointless to get because of this knight h6 to f5 to d4. But instead, this seemingly powerful rook g5, and again, white was in the driving seat. It seemed.
Check.
Somewhere around here, maybe there must be, or maybe one or two moves ago. I'm not sure. There must be some improvement. I think it should be good for white, but in the game he got huge counterplay, black. So.
Yeah.
Check.
And there was a brilliancy. People were saying this is brilliant. This check, this delicate check, and then going back with the bishop. He just ruptured the white's position. He's unanchored the knight by this f3, this nasty pin on the knight. The knight's not anchored in anymore. And there's also bishop a6 could be useful, or bishop b7, and then rook h6. Huge threats now.
Very nicely played, yeah.
And unfortunately, he went for the win, as you say. He went for the win with rook e6 instead of rook d6. So rook d6 would have probably prompted rook e1. There's so much pressure here to deal with. But now it seems Anand remarkably played, well, high precision moves, and
Check.
Yeah, and the thing is, he played them quickly. Also.
yeah,
He always kept his time advantage.
yeah. So
Maybe
now,
around here, I think maybe this bishop b7 move was something which I pointed out. Maybe black could have played better here to avoid all this unpleasant endgame stuff. Okay, but
yeah.
let's go on here. I think it was a draw for a very long time.
A lot of pawns getting swapped off.
Check.
White now merging a pawn up. But now that single pass pawn had some promise.
Check.
because it was a free reign down the board in theory.
Yeah, it was good
Check.
enough to get rid of the connected pawns. Yeah. So
Check.
to reach maybe a really theoretically drawn position.
Yeah. So Anand kept his cool here, and
Check.
that. Okay, so he in this position, he gave up a3 for that h4 menace with rook h5. So he's still a pawn up, but near theoretically drawn position. But unfortunately,
Check.
a very nasty knight
Check.
fork emerged, which happens to people when they're forced to play instantly almost. These nasty knight forks. One of them just simplified
Check.
into a technically one rook and pawn ending. So this now gets a transformation into a technically one rook and pawn ending. Here, if king b8, rook g8 mating. So what else can black do?
Check.
Unfortunately, black's hopeless here, isn't he? In this position.
Yeah, it's over.
It's hope because this pawn is actually enough in this. So not all.
Yeah, it's also it's everything set up for the win here, because let's say, for instance, white would have his rook on let's say g5.
Yeah.
Yeah, then rook f8 is rook f6 check is just a draw.
Oh yeah, it's so coincidental, isn't it?
Yeah, it's everything set up perfectly to win.
Oh,
So
unbelievable.
it's a bit unlucky, also.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah. So not all rook and pawn endings are drawn. That's another saying. Who said that?
Check.
Someone said that once.
If in doubt, it was always Tartakova. He had so many famous quotes. So maybe in this case it might be right even. But I'm not so good with this. Who said what? I know all these, but I'm not quite sure who said those. Okay, so
yeah.
we've reached the final position here, and yeah, despite putting up a huge fight here, as Black, Gelfand had to resign, which is of course in this short format of 4 games a huge blow. So he needed to get back in the next game, most likely.
Yeah. Okay, I hope people on YouTube got something from our extended commentary here, and we're starting to master the annotation things, I think, a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed it, everyone, and we'll be uploading to both our channels. Comments or questions on both our channels. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks very much.